Well, hello guys. Welcome to another episode of It's Steven Time. I am your host, Steven Alexander. In today's episode, I have Briauna Ealy here with me from APSU Saving Grace Mental Awareness. Later in the show, I have APSU student Matthew Dube here to give us some insight on the importance of motivation and leadership. So kick back and relax. You're watching IST.
There's a Steven Show, the Steven Show, the Steven Show, yeah.
As we all know, living a healthy lifestyle can be a challenging situation, and college students often juggle with that. One thing most of us overlook is our emotional health, which in result affects us mentally. Here with us to talk about SGMA is Briauna Ealy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. All over the place, but I'm good. Good to see you. Can you give us a little background about your position with SGMA?
Of course. Well, I'm the president and also the founder. I transferred from Western Kentucky my junior year, so I always had a vision of starting an organization on campus, and because of my own personal experiences, it kind of pushed me to start a mental health club, and we became official back in April, last April 2019.
Okay, so what are some experiences that maybe you have encountered?
Depression, anxiety. I definitely suffered from depression for a long time, longer than what I knew. And then when I finally, I guess it got to a point where I was like, okay, something's not right. And people around me, actually one of my coworkers at work, she's the one that helped me come up with the name, Saving Grace. She has bipolar disorder, depression, and I think anxiety as well. So she was put into a mental institution for a little bit, and she was saying how the people there were her saving grace. So that's kind of where I got the name Saving Grace. And it's kind of my testimony because I feel like a lot of people don't know what it's like to go through depression until they've gone through it. So it really inspired me to look more and research more about mental health, and I really realized like how important it is to everyone.
So can you let our viewers know kind of like what are some signs of depression? Like see, like if someone doesn't know how to approach it, like how can they be more receptive and learn how to approach it better?
I think one of the biggest issues is the stigma that comes with like mental health and depression. A lot of people, particularly the Black community, we're taught to be strong and suck everything up and press on. So I think that's why a lot of people either suppress their feelings and keep it pushing, and then, it's hard to talk to someone about it when you feel like there's no one there that understands it. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is to really just be more understanding and understand that depression is not something that you could just snap out of. Like any mental health issue is not something that you could just snap out of. It's definitely a big issue, and I think a lot of people forget that. I feel like a lot of people, like I said, if you don't go through it, then it's really hard to understand because people just don't get why you're sad. And a lot of people may be sad for numerous reasons, or maybe going through depression for many other reasons, but I think that's the biggest issue. Okay.
So what are some common signs of like a mental illness that someone might be going through? Like, because sometimes like you might try to hide it, but what are some signs that people who don't have it can pick up on?
Well, me personally, I've always been the type to be involved heavily in school. Grades was like my number one thing. I've always had good grades. So for me personally, if anyone that knew me, the signs for me were my grades were slipping. Like I was failing like pretty much all of my classes. I wasn't involved. Like when I first transferred, I wasn't involved at all. The only time I was on campus was to go to class, and I went to work, and all I wanted to do was stay in bed. Like I didn't want to go out with my friends. One sign is like withdrawal. I think that's like the biggest sign to pick up on if you can. When a person is withdrawal, then it's like, that's something that I think is the biggest sign. A lot of people, like I said, are really good at suppressing their feelings, and sometimes you don't know, like especially with suicide, a lot of people take their lives, and people will be like, well, that person was so happy, but I think
they don't know.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that people are really good at suppressing, so it's kind of hard to really identify like where the issue is.
I want to talk about a little bit, like just kind of piggyback. how can we as people, how can like someone who's going through something, how can they feel safe to talk about it without feeling as if they have a problem, they are a problem?
I think, again, the stigma, we have to break that. There's such a negative stigma with mental health, and you know, back in the day, it used to be, you know, if you had a mental health issue, you were considered crazy, and they isolated you and whatnot. So I think that stigma still carries till today. I mean, it's a lot better than what it was back in the day, but I think if we start advocating for those and like, you know, educating people, then I feel like a lot more people will be more receptive to listen and understand. Because I know with the organization, our organization, that's been our biggest challenge is gathering people to like listen, because it's a mental health club. So
Right.
It's not like your typical, you know, club that a lot of people are, you know, like a band club or a beta club, or, you know, like a club that people are interested in. It's mental health. So I feel like a lot of people are not drawn to it because A, they have issues of their own, and it's kind of like they don't want to be the one to be put out there,
yeah.
Or B, they just are not educated on the topic.
So my question to you is, with having SGMA here on campus, what are some visions that you guys have to help students come out and evolve from, you know, that shell?
Yeah. Well, we have a lot in store. It's like I said, it's been very challenging. We host our first event was we did something for suicide prevention month, which was September.
What are some things you guys did?
We had a whole week. So the first week or the first day, I think we had a bake sale, and what we did was we put yellow ribbons around our baked goods, and just kind of like to spark up, you know, suicide prevention month. We put balloons around campus, yellow balloons. I don't know if a lot of people noticed, but there were yellow balloons with suicide facts on them. Another day we wrote inspirational like quotes on the ground. And then it wasn't a big turnout, but we had a guest speaker. My mom, she works on Post, and she was networking, and she was able to connect me with someone that's a licensed counselor that was able to come and speak about suicide. And we were supposed to have a candlelight vigil, but that didn't come through. But that's one of the things that we've done. In the future, we actually have a meeting like tomorrow. We're still like trying to figure out what are some good events to hold on campus to kind of grasp the students on campus. So we're still looking at that. But I think just anything to just like get our name out there, like just to talk about mental health, whether that be like a guest speaker, whether that be like we were thinking about putting on like some type of play or something to just grasp students, because it's been really challenging. That's been the most challenging part.
I want to know how you guys kind of work with students who are in denial. They, I don't know, they just feel like, no, that's not me. I'm not going through anything. I'm fine. How do you guys help them to break from that? Because like a lot of people, they block it. They're like, I'm not letting you get into my life. I don't want you to know what's going on. I'm good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just not good. So how do you guys try to work with students like that?
Well, I mean, we're fairly new on campus, so we're still trying to figure out ways to get those students. I mean, I know we have one person that's she has her own experiences, and she was drawn to us because of her own experiences. So that really made me feel happy, because I'm like, it takes a lot to like, you know, talk about your own experiences. But I think we haven't figured that out yet, because like I said, it's really hard. I myself was like that, you know, I'm really good at suppressing my feelings and just acting like everything is good. So it's really, it's challenging for me. So that's something that we're still trying to figure out how to work through. But I think the biggest thing is just being supportive and letting people know like it's okay. Like I feel like as a college student, we all go through something, whether it's depression, anxiety, whether you have just a mental breakdown, like we all go through something, because college itself is a lot, and to balance that with work and your personal life, and it's a lot. So I feel like we all go through something. It's just a matter of bringing people together.
And it's okay
Yes.
to say that I'm not okay,
It's
right?
definitely okay to say.
Because I have a hard time doing that for myself.
Yes.
When people say, oh, you're not okay. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
That's me. but I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But it's okay to say you're not okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to also say, you know what, I don't know where to turn as well, right?
Yeah.
So my last question for you is, what are some visions that you want for this campus as far as with SGMA? Because I know you guys are just starting out.
Yeah.
It's new. What is a bit like 2 years from now? What is a vision that you want to see for our campus?
2 years, well, I graduate in December. So one thing I've been telling all the members that I have currently, I'm like, I don't want it to dissolve. That's like my biggest fear. I don't want it to dissolve. My biggest thing is to just get our name out there and to just have more people involved as far as mental health and advocating for those that are going through an issue and just being supportive. I think that's the biggest thing, to just become known on campus and go from there.
Well, Briauna, thank you so much for your time. They're telling us we have to wrap up for commercial. It was nice having you on. You're welcome back anytime. And guys, we must take a quick commercial break, but when we return, we will have APSU student Matthew Dube. So stay tuned. You're watching IST.
You can help support Austin Peay students who don't have enough to eat by donating to the Save Our Students Food Pantry. The Save Our Students Food Pantry is looking for soup, pasta, canned meat, canned beans, peanut butter, and fruit. You can drop off your donations at the food pantry on Holm Avenue. It's open Tuesdays through Friday, 8:30 until 4. For more information, call 221-1620, a campus reminder from Austin Peay.
I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Jackson, Tennessee.
Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Gaffney, South Carolina.
Seattle, Washington.
Jeremy, Haiti.
I'm from Três Pontas, Brazil.
Chicago, Illinois.
Hawaii.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Braselton, Georgia.
From Modesto, California. I want to be a neonatal nurse.
An athletic trainer and accountant.
Playing the NFL.
Interior designer. Physical therapist.
Law enforcement officer.
Ultrasound technician.
Social worker.
Physician.
Politician.
Psychologist.
CPA.
Be a social worker.
Nurse practitioner.
Physical therapist.
Restaurant owner.
A politician. Start my own business.
Veterinary.
Elementary school teacher.
The NBA player.
Cardiovascular surgeon.
Anesthesiologist.
Businesswoman in Nashville.
Social worker in Miami, Florida.
Politician in Washington, D.C.
Colorado.
Orlando, Florida.
Houston, Texas.
In Chattanooga.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Seattle, Washington.
Nashville, Tennessee. San Diego, California.
Nashville, Tennessee.
New York City, New York.
San Diego, California.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Nashville.
Los Angeles, California.
New York, New York.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Orlando, Florida.
Los Angeles, California.
Baltimore, Maryland. Clarksville, Tennessee.
Carolina Beach, Carolina. Philadelphia.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Stephen Alexander. It is an honor to sit with my next guest. This young man has set an example across our campus by being a leader, a motivator, and he is here today to talk about his journey and how he continues to reach hearts of students across our campus. Join with me today is my best friend, Matthew Dube. How are you, Matthew?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, dude.
Yes, good to see you too.
So my question to you is, give us a little background about where you're from and what brought you to Austin Peay.
For sure. So I was born in Tacoma, Washington. That's like kind of right outside of Seattle. And my dad was in the military, so I lived there just for about a year. And then I moved to Germany and then to Clarksville. I just kind of grew up here, and that was like the university that was in the area. So that's kind of why I decided that this one is close to home and family and stuff like that. So.
Okay. So when you first became a student here, can you talk about like your academics?
Oh, yes, I can.
This is a story right here.
Yes. Yep, so I was a freshman in the 2013-2014 year. And when I came to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Honestly, didn't want to be in college. I just kind of went by my mom's request. So I changed my major a lot of times. I didn't care and never showed up to class. I had like a 0.7 GPA.
0.7?
Yes, 0.7. I had 15 absences per class. And then after that year, I was like, this isn't for me, and I dropped out. So very good academics.
Wow. So how was that, like looking back on that now? How does it make you feel to know that you went through, did you pass any classes through that too? Can you talk about that too? Like you talked about how you have 15 absences, but you still managed to pass the course.
Yes.
So.
I honestly don't know how I was a gracious professor, to be honest. So I passed 2 classes in my freshman year. And yeah, I just, looking back on it, back then it was, I just don't care, I don't want to be here. But looking back, it's like I didn't know like my purpose, and I was trying to discover that, and I kind of was in this numb cycle of, what am I supposed to do? None of this is fulfilling me, none of this is good, and so my effort level was just at a 0. It was just like, I'm just showing up because this is something I have to do, and then after a while I realized I don't have to do this. Right. And just kind of let it go.
So you left, after that, you left college for a little while, right?
I did.
So when you decided to come back, how did it evolve you?
Oh, it was a major transformation. So I left in the 2014 year. I was just like, I'm done with this, and I decided I'm never coming back. And so I tried to do a bunch of jobs here and there and just, different things, and nothing was working out. And in that experience, like I found like a relationship with the Lord. And I felt like I need to come back to school. I felt like I was working these jobs and like just doing this stuff that I just wasn't fulfilling to me, and I had this desire to come back. So coming back to school, I just kind of took it more seriously. It was like something that I cared about, and I wanted to be here, and I realized what it feels like not to have that option of like bettering yourself through education. And so when I came back, I had much more of a drive, much more of a desire to do a good job and to be successful.
Right. So when you also came back, you were an RA here, right?
Yes.
For the university. How was that experience like for you? How were you able to connect with so many students and get to know students? Because being an RA, that's a big responsibility.
For sure.
So you come encounter with a lot of students. How was that for you?
That's a difficult job, I would say, like to love on like your RAs that are in your buildings. It's a hard job. They do a lot, and I was very graciously extended that job, so very like blessed to receive that. And through that job, you get to interact with students like on a daily basis. You live in like close proximity with them. You're in the same building. You're interacting with them and like getting to talk to them. So I got to meet a lot of people, make a lot of connections, and like a lot of friends and genuine friends. So it's just an awesome opportunity to get to know more people and to feel more like invested in the Austin Peay family. That you actually know people that are here and like people that are down the hall from you that you can like talk to and like make friends with and stuff like that. So this is an awesome opportunity, but a difficult job and one that takes a lot of support. So yeah.
Right. So you're here to talk about motivation, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if you know this about yourself, but a lot of students here know who you are and they look up to you just because of who you are. So my question to you is, through the things that you've been through and coming back to this campus, how has that allowed you to have a sense of grace in that?
For sure. So like letting something go and then realizing the depth of the blessing that it was, just as a huge impact on me. First of all, thank you for saying that was a motivation and stuff like that's really nice of you to say. But yeah, no, I just came back here and I felt like Jesus like gave it back to me. Just like, come on back. And so I was like, I looked at this more of like a gift, and so I was just thankful for it. So walking through this, the first time I think I just walked in ungratefulness, and so like being a student here, I was like, well, I just kind of, everybody goes to college, this is a thing, I don't care. And getting an opportunity to come back here, getting this university to accept me back in, like was something I didn't think was going to happen with a 0.7 GPA. So coming back here, I was like, I'm just grateful for every aspect of it. I'm grateful for classes and for meeting people, and I think that's where like that comes from, that walking in like grace is like I have been extended grace. So like genuinely that I'm just so grateful for this position in this place that I'm in, that I don't deserve to be back here, but that I am. So.
Right. So I want to talk about community and
sure.
community involvement. And for you, you specifically are involved within the community. I want to talk about that community because it's like, I'm a part of it as well.
Yes.
But I just want to know, you're a part of Chi Alpha. How has that been for you? How has that experience been for you in learning like how to adapt with people? And how has that been for you? And how's that transpired for you now that you're back here at this university?
I would say it's like the most beautiful gift that I've ever received. So Chi Alpha is like a campus ministry, but with that being said, there's no like requirement for somebody to have like relationship with Jesus or anything to come. It's like for everyone. So getting to meet these people that just genuinely love. I remember when I first like started meeting people in Chi Alpha, that they would just hug me and like run up to me like, hey, how are you doing? And be genuine. I'm like, why are you loving on me? You've known me for like 20 minutes. And that kind of impact, that kind of love that's being carried through these people have been such a help. I would say community is so like important, especially on a college university, in a community that's driven towards something that you are, that you care about. Like for me, it's pursuing Jesus, but like I said, there's no requirement for that. But people that just genuinely love you, that's so important. And something that I missed from my freshman year with those grades, I didn't have like a community like that. I had some friends here and some friends there, but being connected to people that'll fight for you, that'll stand with you, is awesome, and it's been so beneficial in my journey and getting to where I'm at now.
Right, right.
So.
I want to know, how has like being in deep relationship with people, how has that allowed you to grow as a person, as an individual?
Yeah, I would say like from everything from encouragement to accountability is super important. So people that are there to lift you up, to exhort you, and to encourage you through things that you're going through, that's so important. Like I could not be where I'm at if the Lord didn't provide this community and these people for me to like help me. And then as well with like accountability. So when you're messing up in classes and people be like, hey, like I've noticed this is happening in your life, can I help you? So having people that genuinely love you enough to lift you up, but also to pick you up when you fall and to be like, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna conquer this, is so beneficial and so important.
Right.
So.
I want to like lighten the moment up a little bit.
Sure.
I want to talk about your talent, okay? So Chi Alpha allows you to do worship service. And also, too, fun fact for those who do not know, I know you guys have heard the intro, right? This is the face of my intro. I didn't mention that, but you are the face of my intro.
Yes.
So how is it like being able to also, because you're like a musical person, you're an arts person, so how has that been, like how's it transpired and allowed you to do that with Chi Alpha and just, I don't know, like just bring it all together and tie it all together?
For sure. Yeah, so I love playing music and like I love singing and love writing stuff. And so Chi Alpha has like allowed me to like use my talents in like a worship setting, and to be able to sing and to be able to play music for them has been awesome, and for the purpose that I want to do for Jesus and stuff. So super cool.
So my last question for you is, for any student who feels that they're just lost, they feel like they don't know where to turn, who to go to, who cares about them, what should they do? How should they keep moving? They may be suffering in their grades, academically. How can they keep pushing?
I would say the number one step is transparency. Being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to come up to someone and say, hey, I'm struggling, or this is happening, is so important. So like living a life of like being honest about where you're at, that it is okay, like you said earlier, to not be okay. And then being willing to say that to people, hey, I'm not okay, but I want to be okay. Can you help me with that? And so I think that's the big step, like talk to someone. Even though you feel isolated and you feel like you want to be alone, that's not the answer. That won't bring you help. It's that deep, rich community that's going to fight for you. And just you being willing to extend vulnerability. And the awesome thing is like true strength is in vulnerability, being willing to be real, to just be yourself, be like, this is where I'm at. That's true strength. So not feeling like you're being strong by hiding, but to letting yourself be open and then allowing people to carry and to help you out. So.
And before we wrap for commercial, I want to know, how and what advice would you give students who have walked in your shoes or are walking in your shoes?
I would say there's hope. So I had a 0.7 GPA. I have like a 3.8 now. So there's hope. There's not a one time and you're over. Your life isn't over with because you mess up, because you fall down. You can stand up. You have a deeper and a rich purpose. And so like realizing that you have that it's okay to mess up. It's all right. And also like I struggled with a lot being like, I didn't graduate in 4 years, that I had to come back and I had to fall on my face and learn. There is no like set plan to life, that we don't have to conform to this idea of college is 4 years and you're done and get a job. But sometimes people's lives look different, and that's okay. That doesn't make you lesser than. That just means you're learning and you're going through this process to become the person that you're designed to be. So being okay with that and embracing like your life and the journey of it, and not falling into that idea of comparison. Like I don't look like you, or my life isn't like you, so what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you, that you're different. You're made to be different, and that's okay. I would say that's super important. It's something I struggled through for a long time, so I just want people to know that. So.
Well, that's valuable information. Well, guys, we have to take a commercial break, but Matt's going to be with me when we return. So you guys are watching IST. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's time for us to get in the zone. Today's topic is about the importance of transformation. So I have Matt Dube here join with me, and we're going to talk about why transformation is such a good thing. Why is it such a valuable thing? Why would you say it's a valuable thing for you?
I'd say like there's no growth without transformation. That to grow, that you have to change, you have to adapt, you have to go through things. So my transformation came from the Lord like stepping into my life and like letting me know that I'm deeply loved. And if I didn't know that, I wouldn't be in the space that I'm at. So being willing to be transformed and to grow is the way to progress in your life. That if you're not willing to transform, if you're not willing to change, that you're not going to go anywhere. I'd still be at a 0.7 GPA as a college dropout if I wasn't willing to transform into this new person that I am. It's so important for growth that's the importance of life. That there isn't an end goal like I've reached it, but that it's constant growth. And if you're not willing to transform and be open to the idea of that you won't be participating in that growth, and that's when life becomes purposeless.
Yeah.
So
I would say the same thing, and also too, like for me, I would say too, the importance of transformation is the quality of the growth track within that transformation. You learning who you are, fine-tuning with, your value in that, because sometimes with being transformed, you find out that you learn that, oh my goodness, I have a value that I didn't realize I had. And transformation is not just about, getting to the other side. It's about the process that you go through to be transformed. So I think that's why a lot of us, and why is this relevant to students, and why are we talking about this? Because we all have the ability to be transformed, and we all have the ability to want to be transformed, but you have to want it for yourself, right?
Yes.
So my thing is, with being transformed, it's okay to say, I don't know how to be transformed. I would like to be transformed. I know there's something better for me. So how can I reach that? And it's okay to ask that, and someone be willing to help you, So my next question is, why do you think that, what is the hardest thing about transformation? What do you think is the hardest thing about it that people just have a hard time with?
I know for me, as human beings, we enjoy being comfortable. We enjoy, we're like, okay, I like this little box that I'm in. I like this place of life. Please don't change. But the funny thing is everything outside of us and even ourselves are inconsistent, that they change continuously. So I think the biggest struggle is people not being willing. They're like, man, this is hard right now, or this is different. I don't like how this looks different than before. And so I think that's when people kind of give up, and they kind of have those feelings of, I can't do this. But realizing that that's a journey. So I think it's that easy nature of us to just fall into this comfortable place of, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm going to stay. That makes it hard.
So how has that worked for you? How does that realization work for you?
I am the most stubborn human being on the planet, so I dropped out.
That's like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
like that takes a big boy to
sure.
say that,
Yeah.
you know? So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no,
to
you're
cut you off.
totally good. You're right. I haven't been able to say that for like years, but like the place I'm in now, I'm like, yes, I am stubborn. It took me 3 years after dropping out to come back here. So 3 years of, I don't want to go back there. I don't want this. This looks different. This is weird. But just me realizing that it's okay to walk through something that is a journey, that it's not an arrival point. That's been the biggest thing that I've learned, that there's in this place that you get in your life, I've made it. Know that you've made it, and well, here's the next place to go to. And having like Jesus like walk me through that. This is a journey. This is a walk. That's what life is. But yeah, it was hard to deal with. Hard to realize. So.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. And Matthew, thank you for your time today.
Yes.
I hope that students who were watching and listening, they can understand that, you know, they have a place here. And it's all about fine tuning within that and knowing your place. So I thank you for your time. And guys, thanks for tuning in today. I will see you guys next week with more news and entertainment. I love you guys, and I hope you love me too. And always remember to, let's go Peay.